few years into a marriage, I felt like I was cruising on pole position. Great job, good home, good circle of friends and family, overall doing well in life until that fateful evening. One evening, I saw my wife visibly stressed, and she was venting her frustration about a particular area of her life. Being the very well-meaning and helpful husband, I jumped in with solutions. Here is what you should do. Step 1. The look on her face suggested that I should just stop because I was not helpful. But being the genuinely great problem solver that I am, I doubled down, offered even more advice, which led to an argument, the sort of argument that happens among married couples that quickly moves from, I was trying to help you, to, why are we even married, within 5 minutes. That night, as I was reflecting on myself, I realized that I had not learned some of the very basic skills of just listening. I had learned Bernoulli's equation of fluid dynamics, but not how to just stay calm, quiet, and say, I'm here for you. And that is not the only time in my life that I felt this gap. I felt this over and over again, that the stuff, the skills I really needed, I was never taught. Many of us believe that once we graduate, poof, we are ready for life. But let me share with you that graduating is just like getting a learner's driver's license. If I may borrow from a sport I love, of Formula One, getting graduation is like getting your license to drive on the circuit. In any F1 race, you have 3 qualifying rounds, Q1, Q2, Q3. Graduating is not Q1. It is just getting on the racetrack. You need a few more skills, a few more experiences to get to race to Q1. And I hope that today I can share a few of those pointers to help you get ready. And the other thing is that there is no coach, there is no guide who is yelling in the microphone in the race or shouting from the pit stop, now is the time to invest in mutual funds. So I hope that I can give a bit of a guide or a compass to enable on that journey. Let's talk about a few areas of life where we believe that help could be great. Then if you talk about career, we know that in university you can learn about, I talked about Bernoulli's equation, but you can talk about supply chain models or market segmentation. But do you learn how to give feedback to your boss without getting fired? And spoiler, it's not about sending them an article saying why great leaders listen, or the fact that you need to network, and that might be equally as important as delivering on your KPIs. I already spoke a little bit about relationships, but do you know what is harder than rocket science? Understanding what your partner actually means when they say, I'm fine. If you talk about health, we talk a lot about grinding, about achieving, about hustling. But has anybody told you that you need to take care of your body? Maybe you need to sleep a little more. Maybe you need to do yoga, maybe exercise. Burnout is real. Sometimes you actually need to step back in order to step ahead. And financial planning. How many of you actually knew that it was really critical to start investing when you got your first paycheck? Or about buying that insurance policy? Studies have demonstrated that coaching in these areas, relationship coaching or financial literacy, can significantly improve well-being and outcomes. So that is the aim that I have here, to give you 5 life mantras or mindsets or racing tips, whatever you may call them, to get to the race to Q1. First, growth or learning mindset. When I joined my company, in which I'm currently working many years ago, I couldn't deliver the KPIs in the first year. It was, if you draw an x-axis on time and y-axis on confidence, on me, it went like, a great guy has joined us. He comes with impeccable credentials. He's giving great ideas, speaks quite well, but actually the ideas he's giving are not really working. We don't understand everything that he's saying, and the team also isn't really able to gel well. It was disaster. It didn't feel good. And then again, I reflected, like in my first example, to say, okay, what could I have done differently? And that switch about changing from who messed it up to what can I learn was the reason I grew and the reason you can grow. Since then, I've made learning a key part of my life. In the last 12 months, I have read about 20 nonfiction books. I have taken 5 courses on AI and attended a few conferences, done numerous sessions for my team. How many of you have gotten a chance to do courses on AI? Great, sir. So it's an example. I interview a lot as well, and one question that I always ask in interviews is, tell me about a time you failed. And if the story is about, oh, my boss cut my budgets, or the agency was not competent, or the process is not really nice in my company, I know that they are not yet ready for the race, at least not yet. But again, all these examples I'm talking about are from career. It doesn't have to be about career. It could be about any part of your life. I go back to relationships again. I think fairy tales and Bollywood movies have sold us on the idea of they lived happily ever after. But let me ask you not to believe in this, because it is not true. You have to work on it. You have to get feedback, improve. And probably the better saying is they worked on it happily ever after. So that was the first one. Second mindset is about purpose-driven. Like in an F1 race, you need to know what is the racetrack that you are driving on, which is your purpose, and then designing your car accordingly. Some of you might choose to overinvest in an engine. Somebody might choose to get different set of tires. Somebody might want to get a different set of fuel consumption techniques. Similarly, in life, you need to figure out what do you want to do or be, which is the purpose, and then investing your time accordingly between your career, family, job, hobbies, and there is no right or wrong. This will prevent a situation when you might overinvest in an engine, but figure out that the racetrack actually needed you to have wet tires. That's the second. The third is more like a no comparison mindset. As I was talking about, like everybody's running their own race. And once you're out of school, the degrees or the way to measure changes. Even from people from my batch, I have somebody who's excelling in a corporate journey, somebody who's giving discourses on dharma, somebody who's staying with his elderly parents in his hometown, and somebody who's coaching kids in a football academy. How do you compare? You cannot compare. So please stop comparing. But even among the people who you think are doing similar than you, whatever you do, you will always find people who are doing better than you. I find it incredible that always on LinkedIn, you will find this guy, one guy who is raising $50 million for a startup and climbing Mount Everest and mentoring orphans. We can seek inspiration, but please do not compare, because as I said, everybody's on their own racetrack. And again, to borrow the F1 analogy, you just need to improve your lap time versus what you had previously and not comparing versus others. I think the last one is the abundance mindset, really believing in yourself and going for it, because if you don't, then nobody else is going to ask you to do that. So, and again, like in F1, you might have a racetrack, but midway you might decide to change your racetrack. Or you might want to go for late braking, which is a technique where you're trying to gain that extra millisecond by braking late before the corner comes. These are abundance mindsets in action. And as it said, it is the most effective way to do it is to do it. I would be amiss if I do not mention the Bhagavad Gita. Again, I do not understand why this book is supposed to be read only by people once they hit the 70s. I think this is incredible and almost should be compulsory reading for anybody who's graduating from college. And all of us know the learning, but again, just to rehash about doing your duty and not obsessing about the results and taking that ownership and showing up fully without worrying about the results, I think can really help all of us in our journeys. So as I'm coming towards the end, I would like you all to take a moment to consider who is responsible for filling in these gaps in your life. Is it your parents? Is it the university? Could it be a TEDx speaker? No, it's you. You are the driver. If you're going for a guitar lesson, if you want to learn the guitar, you find a coach. If you want to learn swimming, you sign up for an instructor. But when you're going for a new job or starting a relationship, you just improvise. That needs to change. You need to take control of your life. You need to choose your racetrack. Need to train for the turns so that you are ready for this race to Q1 as what I'm mentioning. The only help I will ask from you, as before I end, is to make a commitment to yourself, to agree to figure out that one thing that you will learn about and put a reminder for it in your calendar on Monday and make sure that you actually go and learn that. Thank you and wish you a very good luck.